Senator Rubens. In the fall of 2012, the Merrimack Business Association sent out questionnaires to several hundred small businesses in the area. One of the questions was, what do you think the biggest reason that new businesses fail is? 45 of 79 respondents listed the government, whether IRS or another government agency, as the reason. Question, what ideas do you have to convert government from an enemy of business to a friend of business?
It boils down to something pretty simple. Government has got to become simpler, and it's got to delegate more of the tasks of regulation back to the people whose lives are being lived. The concept of the federal government running our lives and micromanaging every aspect. I had one of my most recent businesses was a restaurant that my wife and I ran a few years ago. And this is the State Department of Labor required, this is the state issue, but it's the same kind of problem. The State Department of Labor required us to have a 20-page safety document, custom made for our particular restaurant. Otherwise, they would come in and shut us down, okay? We don't want slippery floors in our restaurant, okay? I don't want people falling down. I want my restaurant to be clean. I want my food to be safe. I'm incentivized to do that on my own. And if we delegate all those tasks to the federal government, a small business, and we're going to come back to Dodd-Frank again. We come back to Dodd-Frank that both Shaheen and Brown voted for. Brown brags about being the 60th vote to pass, oh, he's proud of it, to pass Dodd-Frank. It's written by the Wall Street banks. The Wall Street banks are bigger than they were before the meltdown. The taxpayer is still on the hook when they go under, and they go under for 10 years because they're wild and crazy, and we're on the hook for it. And it's hurting New Hampshire small business. And I'm in those small businesses. I talk with them. I've been campaigning for a year. It's hurting these small businesses because they can't cope with the 30,000 pages of regulations. I met with the chairman of one of our small community banks yesterday. I'm sitting down, he was telling me about Dodd-Frank. He used to have 1/2 of a compliance officer for his small bank. Now he has 2 full-time compliance officers and a $60,000 a year compliance consultant. And they don't do him any good because his bank, they lost no money during the Great Recession. They didn't cause the meltdown. And Dodd-Frank burdened on our small business economy. And it's not just banks. First-time home buyers can't get loans anymore. Small businesses cannot get loans anymore. So we've got to have a government that is tuned to the needs of small business. We're a small business state.
Certainly agree. I had the same meeting, probably with different bankers, but
Yep.
the same issue. And in this particular case, fire 2 people and hire 4 to comply with the regulations. 4 new ones that have to do something else other than the fact that what happened with the 2 people who were fired. It goes back to what Ronald Reagan said. The worst words you could ever hear is, "I'm from the government. I'm here to help." And it's true. I mean, it's really hard to go out and speak to people. I mean, it's one thing to sit in front of a group like this and talk because we know you all understand what's going on, and we're preaching to the choir when we tell you this, which makes it somewhat feel guilty. We know you know what the problems are. But you know something, when you talk to a small business person somewhere, whether it's a maple sugar guy up in the North Country somewhere, or somebody, a banker, whoever it is, but a small banker, these people are dealing every day with real problems. They're trying to make a living. They're trying to employ people, and the government sits on them constantly, day after day after day. I don't know how you start a business today. This is wrong. And we've got to get to the bottom of this. We've got to stop it. And I'm sorry, but Republicans are guilty of it. I'm sorry he's not here, but he could have come here and defended himself. And he's not here. Scott Brown said, I proudly, as Jim said, I proudly voted for Dodd-Frank. He was the deciding vote in the U.S. Senate. He crowed about it. He was one of only 3 Republican senators.
We're not making this up.
We're not making it up. So this is what gets me sometimes in trouble with people in the Republican Party. I'm not going to tell you if Republicans are wrong. I'm going to tell you they're wrong. He was wrong. In the United States Senate, and poor Ted Stevens isn't here to defend himself. He was killed in an airplane crash a few years ago. But he'd tell you if he was sitting here. He used to pound his fist down on a table in these conference committee meetings. He'd like that, and he'd say, I get $180 million to study the Northern Lights of Alaska, or whatever they called it, and if I don't get it, the meeting doesn't start. When I get it, sit down, and we'll divvy up the rest of the pot. I saw it happen. That's what happens if whoever said laws and sausage, if you saw both how they were made to be sick, you would. I'm telling you, it's not pretty. And we need to change it. But you're not going to change it by electing Republicans like Scott Brown who are going to kick the can down the road and pass on more debt and build up more and more regulations and taxes and spending. We've got to stop it. And you do it one way. You defeat the people in the Republican Party and in the Democratic Party who are doing it to us. Period. We did it in Virginia. We can do it here.
GrokTV.